We go. Open your notes to first little page. All right. And again, just do the best you can with this. It's going to be, may not be perfect. All right. So we're going to start by talking about the angle addition postulate. How many of you guys remember segment addition? We just did it. We just had a test on it.
Yeah.
Right? If I've got something like this, and this is A, B, and C, what relationship do I know about these segments?
They're even.
They're not necessarily even.
Go to Q.
I can do AB plus BC equals AC. Equals the whole thing, just like that. So I know that to be true, yeah? We can do the same thing for angles. So for angles, when I look at this diagram, I can say that, and this is a lowercase m, so this is measure of angle AOB plus measure of angle BOC equals measure of angle AOC. All right? So all that's saying is that this angle, the angle on top, plus the angle on bottom, add those two together and it equals the whole thing. Right? So if AOB were 30 and BOC is 15, what's AOC?
Oh.
45.
45. You just add them together. All right? So pretty easy, pretty straightforward, right? On we go.
I can do it.
Got it?
No.
Okay, how about now?
No.
Okay, how about now?
How about in a couple minutes?
Wait, keep writing. Why are you looking at me? Got it yet? All right.
Aren't we supposed to look at the teacher when he's talking? That's right.
You're supposed to look at the screen. You can hear my voice. All right. Next, we're going to talk about a linear pair. A linear pair are two adjacent. Does anybody know what adjacent means? Houses can be adjacent.
Like point. They have a point.
Not together, but they're adjacent. If I told you your seat is adjacent to Landon's, what does that mean?
Parallel.
Not just close, but
Next to.
next to. All right, adjacent means next to. So two adjacent angles which make up a straight line. All right, so two adjacent angles which make up a straight line. So it could look something like, guess what is it?
So you gotta put this into the classroom, right?
If it works.
So like you're gonna like put like a picture of it.
I'm going to try to post this video, see if it should save it as a video file.
Post a picture of this,
I've already got a picture of that post on Classroom.
Not do it. Do you have
Doesn't mean you should not do it.
the pictures, right? Or all those notes.
They will be there, yes.
When?
After we do them.
Okay.
But you should still write them yourself. It will help you remember way, way, way more than looking at something someone else has written. No. I'm telling you, it helps you remember by writing yourself. That's why we do it. All right. So that tells me that angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. All right. Can anybody make a conjecture about the angle measure of 1 and 2? They equal 180. They're always add up to 180. Always add up to
What's angle
180
79?
degrees. What's that?
What's angle 79?
There is no angle 79.
Why?
I haven't drawn one. I could have one. All right, questions there? So always add up to 180.
Should we pencil just because I don't like writing?
I have a pencil. Can you catch? You're not getting a pencil from
Sorry. It's a difficult angle because you can't throw it too high and it'll hit the ceiling.
Thank you.
Too low and it won't get there. Too hard, it'll put out an eye. All right. Next, we're going to talk about vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are across from each other at a four-way stop. All right, so these are two angles that are across from each other at a four-way stop. What's a four-way stop look like?
Like a,
Like an intersection?
like that.
Yes,
Like
two,
an
it's two roads crossing each other, right? Everybody has to stop. Now, does it have to be at right angles?
No.
No, it can be at any angle. It could be like this, this, whatever. It can still be a four-way stop, right? So if I drew it in,
What does that say after two?
two angles that are across from each other at a four-way stop. So if I drew in two lines like this, and I said this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, then in this case, 1 and 3 are vertical angles. And 2 and 4. 1 and 3, and 2 and 4. Now, can someone make a conjecture about the value, the measure of the vertical angles?
You have tissues.
Nope. You've got two perfectly good sleeves.
Yeah, I'm gonna use yours.
All right. Suit yourself.
Can I go to the bathroom and get a paper towel?
Nope.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Nope.
I need to go.
Why you lie?
Why do you talk so much?
Well, if we look at them like this, what looks like would be true about 1 and 3? That's also true about 2 and 4.
Even?
They're even. They're the same, right?
Okay.
They are always congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Vertical angles are always congruent. They always are the same as each other. So it doesn't matter how I construe them. If they're across from each other at a four-way stop, they're going to be the same. So 1 and 3 are the same, 2 and 4 are the same. Make sense?
No.
Hold on, here's a second. What's that symbol in the thing?
That's the congruent symbol. It's like an equal sign with a little swish on top of it. And congruent and equal are kind of functionally the same thing. Congruent just means a little bit more. All right, we got it?
No. Sir.
Okay.
All right, moving on, top of the next page. Now we're going to talk about angle bisector. What does it mean to bisect something?
No,
Go
cut,
into.
cut it up.
Cut it in two. And what's true about the two that are left behind?
They're equal.
They're cut.
They're equal, right? So this, an angle bisector, is a ray that cuts an angle into two equal halves. So if I drew that out, So in this case, I would say that ray OB bisects angle AOC. So if OB bisects AOC, and they kind of do, well, it looks like the one on the bottom's a little bit bigger, but if the creator of the drawing tells you that it's bisected, that means it's bisected. So because it's my drawing and I say they're bisected, that means they're bisected, regardless of what it looks like. So if OB bisects angle AOC, what does that mean about AOB and BOC? They are congruent. So that means that angle AOB is congruent to angle BOC. Now, remember, and no, you cannot go to the bathroom.
I didn't even wash my hands.
Still no.
I can't write.
Yes, you can.
No,
Pick up
I
your
can't.
pencil.
It's
Okay, what happened?
nasty.
What happened?
I put that on my hand, and I thought it
But
was
that, what's that?
That thing on the wall. and I
Sanitizer?
thought- Yes.
It goes away.
Yeah, but it's sticky,
Science.
gross, and nasty, and I
Well,
need to go wash
sucks.
my hands.
No. All right.
You're sticky, gross, and nasty.
That's enough. All right. Now, when we said that lines were congruent, we put a little hash on them, right? When we mark angles congruent, we put the same number of arcs in there. And we'll call that an arc. And that tells me that those two angles are congruent. All right, you may see this a couple of different ways. Usually, if I had to draw two angles that were congruent in the same drawing, I would use two arcs, so the same number of arcs. You also might see it drawn in as an arc with hashes. So the ones with the same number of hashes are congruent. All right? All right, this should say supplementary. And this one down here should say complementary.
What does that say?
Supplementary.
What did it say?
Supplementary.
What's that guy do?
All right, what are supplementary angles? Anybody remember? You may know. They add up to
We had up to 180.
180. Yes.
So the other one's out of three.
And they may or may not be adjacent.
What about the next one? How much do they add up to? 360?
No, not 360. Go the other way. 90. Yeah.
Okay, adjacent.
Actually, what are complementary angles?
They add up to 90.
No, they're angles that tell you something nice every day. Yes, they add up to 90. All right. Hey, in case you get stuck and can't remember which is which, we have a handy little mnemonic. You guys know this word mnemonic?
I don't. Can you
Okay, the
explain
word
it?
mnemonic. What
Define it.
letter do you think the word mnemonic starts with?
D.
Starts with an M.
Or not?
Is the M silent?
Yes.
Alright.
All right.
Oh,
What
I said
a mnemonic?
Y'all thought you said tomorrow.
A mnemonic is a memory trick.
oh, it's
All right.
the thing that has those numbers, and it's a big number, and then they go down, and then it's like the number here, and then they go down too.
No.
And then, oh. What's that called?
Can somebody the factor tree? Can somebody tell me a mnemonic that they're familiar with?
I didn't know that was.
Ouija board.
What? Yeah, the colors of the rainbow or what? What's the mnemonic?
Roy G. Biv.
Roy G. Biv. All right, there's one. Roy G. Biv. What about please excuse my dear Aunt Sally? Learned that one in the 3rd grade. It's for PEMDAS, Order of Operations.
I
What
know.
was it?
All right. Here's another one. It doesn't always have to be a word. The months of the year, some of them have 31 days and some of them don't. A way to remember them is use your knuckles, and you count using the knuckles and the space between your knuckles. So the ones that land on knuckles have 31 days, the ones that don't do not. So you go January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then you start over August, September, October, November,
So
December.
January has 31 days?
What does?
January?
Yes. So the ones that are on, though, you only use these top knuckles. The ones that land on top of a knuckle have 31 days, and the ones that land in between do not. That's a mnemonic.
Can you explain that again? So like,
No.
no, like seriously, like what am I going to know that a month has 31 days?
Then you can check your phone.
Yeah, but I can't check my phone in here, can I?
Good point. All right.
So I need to learn. This is
So
not school.
our mnemonic here is we write the first two letters of supplementary and complementary. All right? And we can easily change the SU into a 180. And we change the complementary into 90.
Wait.
That's how you remember it.
Both S, U?
SU becomes 180, and the CO becomes 90.
Didn't SMU just have a football game?
All right, everybody got this? All right, we're going to work these examples out, and then you'll have plenty of time left afterward to work on the
Did
assignment.
LSU what, lose?
No, it was close,
Damn.
65 to 14.
I wish they lost.
All right, okay, looking at the first one, what type of angles are these? Look back on the previous page if you need to.
Sector.
No.
Or by.
Vertical.
What are vertical? Are vertical are across from each other? Are these two across from each other?
Yeah.
Wait.
Vertical angles are across from each other at a four-way stop. Are these?
Kinda.
No, we're talking about this angle and this angle.
Oh.
Which drawing does that look like?
Looks like an X.
It looks
the
like
sector?
Does it look like this one?
It looks like vertical.
They're not vertical.
But it looks
Vertical
like
have to be across from each other.
or linear.
These two are a linear pair. This is a linear pair. What is the relationship with angles within a linear pair?
linear pair.
Linear pair add up to 180. They are supplementary. Which means they add up to 180. All right? So our equation, if they add up to 180, I just take the expression for each and set them equal to 180. So I say 7x plus 20 plus 5x plus 10 equals 180. All right? So that's just the first angle plus the second angle equals 180. Pretty easy from here, it's just algebra. So 12x plus 30 equals 180. Subtract 30. Gives me 12x equals 150. Divide by 12. And 150 divided by 12 equals 12.5. So x is equal to 12.5. If x is 12.5, then I'm just going to plug it back in up here. So I'm going to say 7 times 12.5 plus 20, and that is 7 times 12.5.
Plus
Whoops.
77.
7 times 12.5 plus 20. That gives me 107.5. So if the top left angle is 107.5, LMO, what is OMN?
It should be equal. It should equal to 180.
Equal to 180. So how do I find it?
You subtract 180 to 107.
180 minus 107.5. So this one is 72.5. And I can check it by plugging x in. So I can say just 5 times 12.5 plus 10 is also 72.5. All right, so now what is this angle over here? PMN.
That's like, what's the question?
What's this angle right here?
What is it out of? Like,
What's the numerical value of it? What's the degrees?
Probably
I
like
think
125.
Well, hang on. How do we figure out this one was 72.5?
Did that.
Hey, shh. How do we figure out this one was 72.5? We did 180 minus this one, right?
So, do you want
So these two together should also equal 180.
so that's 107.5.
So this one's 107.5.
That's even.
It's also vertical with this guy. So these two are vertical angles, so that makes this one 72.5. All right? Questions there? On we go. Savion, quit distracting Landon. He needs to learn.
No.
All right, next. AC and DE intersect at B. Find X and the measure of all 4 angles. What type of angles do I have here? These are vertical. What is the relationship with vertical angles?
How do you like snap? I never learned like that. Like I never like I don't know how to.
What's the relationship with vertical angles? They're congruent.
Are you on the same?
If they are congruent, then what I do in this case is set them equal to each other. I just say 3x plus 15 equals 2x plus 20. Subtract 2x from both sides and subtract 15 from both sides. That gives me x equals 5. All right? If x equals 5, I can find the value of the angles by plugging it back in. 3 times 5 is 15, so this is 15 plus 15, which is 30. And up here, 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 20
It's 30.
is also 30, as it should be. If each of these are 30, what are each of the other two? Not also 30.
150?
150.
That's the equal.
Because these two together have to be a linear pair. That's a straight line that has to equal 180. So this one is also 150. All right, we got it? Don't get what?
It has to equal to 180.
Because these two angles together are a linear pair. They have to be 180. All right. All right, now we've got ray OB bisects AOC. What does it mean to bisect?
To go through to end half it.
It's 2 equal halves. So that means if OB bisects AOC, that means that this half and this half are congruent. That means that first of all we know that angle AOB is congruent to angle BOC.
I don't get it.
Okay, so AOC is this whole thing.
Okay.
If this ray bisects it, it means it cuts that whole thing in half.
Okay.
So this half and this half are equal to each other.
Okay. Explain that, like the second half of what you said. Like
Yeah.
I'm serious.
so I've got this whole angle here, and I cut it in half using array.
So you have the whole angle and you cut it in half using array. Okay. Got
Which
it.
gives me two equal smaller angles. All right.
Do they equal to 180?
Nope, not necessarily.
Do they have to?
Nope. They equal whatever
Why
they equal.
special?
All we know now is they equal each other. That's all we know so far. But as we read on, AOB is 25. So I can put that here. And DOC, which is the one at the bottom, this is 40.
Right?
What's that?
It equals to 90.
What equals to 90?
The entire thing, right?
It does. So what's BOC? What BOC has to be 25 because it's congruent. So BOC is 25 degrees. And if I add all three of them together, 25 plus 25 plus 40, I get 90 degrees. So that is angle AOD equals 90. All right. So can I bisect an angle and have two 90-degree angles left over?
No.
Yeah, I could. What if I drew it? If I drew it like this?
Isn't that, what's that symbol?
Which symbol?
Okay, like it's not like you didn't draw the symbol, but like it's like kind of the same thing. That thing.
This?
Yep.
What does that box mean?
No, not that box. Those
Right.
lines.
It means it's right angle. It means they're 90 degrees.
Those lines.
It means it's perpendicular as well. Yes. These lines?
No, not those.
No, he was talking.
Under
You're
it.
talking.
Right. No, above it. Yeah, right there.
That's a ray.
No, like the entire thing.
That's a line, and that's a ray.
No, the symbol.
This symbol?
No, not that one. Okay, you're on the right one. Go back to the one. Yeah, that one. But that entire symbol. What does that mean? Like it's not a. You didn't draw the symbol, but like I just forgot what that symbol meant.
I think it means a ray.
No.
All right.
Look, I'll show you.
X and Y are complementary. We can talk in a second. Lily, go sit down. Complementary angles. What does complementary mean?
Add up to 90.
Add up to 90. If they add up to 90, so I've got angle X and angle Y. X is 3x plus 7. Y is 6x plus 20. All right, I can't draw them together because the problem tells me just angle X and just angle Y. So if I drew them right next to each other, then that would be incorrect. But oftentimes you might run into a drawing that looks like this. So in this case, what's true of angle 1 and angle 2? They add up to 90, right? So they must be complementary because this part tells me that's 90 degrees, and I know 1 plus 2 equals this whole thing. So now, we're told these are complementary. Which means they add up to 90. If they add up to 90, how do I set up my equation? Let's just say 3x plus 7, which is angle x, plus angle y, 6x plus 20, equals 90. So now it's just algebra. 3 plus 6 is 9, 20 plus 7 is 27, equals 90, subtract 27. I get 9x equals 63, divide by 9. And I get x equals 7. So if x is 7, I go back and plug each one in. 3 times 7 plus 7, 21 plus 7. So angle x equals 28. And 6x plus 20, 6 times 7 plus 20, 42 plus 20, which is angle y, is 62. Do 28 and 62 add up to 90?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So, that's it. Any questions?
We're gonna
Our
do the whole
question.
thing today.
No.
A question.
What is it?
What does that thing mean?
I'm still writing it.